Mumbai monsoon. What's wrong? So it reminds me one of my friend who says, Tushar, I'll come and stay for a weekend. And he comes in bit early in May, stayed there through November, and I'm still wondering, he's extending a lot. Shall I start charging a rent to it? Funny, isn't it? But is it normal? No, it's not normal, right? This is what I call as December dilemma. Because seasons are changing, their pattern, their mode, their timelines. It's all everything is changing. And that's where we need to think about it. How these seasons are changing and their patterns are changing. And while we are thinking, we are waiting. We are waiting that governments will take the action or somebody else will take the action. But is it waiting? The nature is going to wait for us? No. Nature is waiting for our actions towards compensation. You see, there is a global warming. How this global warming happens? There is a carbon blanket in between our sun and earth. Because of sun, the carbon layer acts like an invisible blanket or heat blanket, which keeps heating because of the sun, and that it keeps heating our earth, which creates global warming. This earth, with this so much of heat, is creating temperature rises, and that's creating lots of floods, lots of emissions, and it also impacting the whole ecosystem. How we can actually compensate or control this earth? We have to put this carbon back into some sinks, that is our earth, our trees, our forests, our soil. If we put this carbon back into the earth automatically naturally gets cooled down. That's global warming can be controlled. And how we do this? There are various ways, there are various NGOs working on it. Okay. So the carbon which is there in the air, which is getting heated, it has to be naturally coming down onto the earth. And there are 5 areas where we can actually work. There is one area where we can do forestation. We can plant trees, which actually get survives. And those trees will sequester your carbon from the environment, put it into their trunk and put it into down to the earth. There are soil conservation activities we can do. We can make our soil rich, healthy, which can sequestrate the carbon very easily. So there are ways. On the second, that is soil conservation. The third one is water pollution cleanup. There is lots of water pollution around. There are water bodies which are getting impacted. How the carbon goes into the earth through water? If it is a clean water, it can directly goes and sequestrate in the earth. But if it is a polluted water, it's naturally cannot sequestrate this carbon back into the earth. So we have to clean up the water bodies. We have to work on water pollution control and cleanup. The fourth area that I'm talking about is the animal conservation, the wildlife. It actually carries the natural ecosystem to carry the carbon to the right sinks. If the life cycle of them is broken, then it's a breach. We have to maintain our wildlife. We have to maintain our animals. So we have to conserve their life cycle. And the fourth one that I talk about is the recycling. Recycling everything that can be reused. We have to reuse all those things which are, if manufactured, they will definitely create more pollution. So try to recycle, try to reuse. And we need to work on our electronic waste, digital waste. We need to reduce it down because that also creates lots of emission and pollution. Then, typically in India, we understand CIBIL score, right? We everybody know it. It a kind of indicates our financial status. So, point is, as an individual, what I can do to compensate or adjust this carbon. The point I'm making here is, what if all we have a carbon score similar to our CIBIL score, which indicates my current emissions or which indicates what compensation I am doing in terms of soil conservation, in terms of forestation, or in terms of water pollution control, anything. If I get the score, I get a visibility. It's not a punishment, but it's a visibility that where I am impacting, what position I have on this earth with respect to this compensation or with respect to carbon emission control or supporting this environment. So if this kind of system we get, and that's what we are building carbon fixing platform, which can help, and that's my X factor. We are building it and it's available. It's just you have to use it. You have to look forward that where are this kind of programs running across, and how I as an individual can get involved, work on it, and get this thing going, and I try to compensate my carbon. So my mantra here is that there are ways, there are opportunities. Point is, every emission cannot be controlled, but every emission can be compensated definitely. And we all have to work together it as an individual. I am Tushar Gangurde. I invite you to work on this carbon emission control activities or carbon compensation platform. Thank you.